How is it going, everyone? It's Armor Studio NYC back with another video. As you can tell, this is going to be a little bit different video than the ones that we're used to putting out on this channel. Usually we do modeling videos, but it's time for me to start doing like product reviews and quick fixes and stuff like that to help the average modeler have a better, easier experience modeling, with my personal experiences, of course. So as you can see here, that's blue paint. That's a lot of blue paint. Okay, wash my hands. Anyway, so as you guys can see here, we have our Harder and Steenbeck Infinity CR Plus. Now this is the 0.15 millimeter nozzle version of it. Oh, very pretty, right? Yes, very nice. I had purchased this airbrush probably about 2 to 3 years ago because I wanted to spoil myself. I did some research on detail brushes and I had decided this was the one that I wanted to go for. It is the smallest needle that you could get. The other one, or the only other small one, is the Iwata Custom CMB, which comes in 0.18 millimeter nozzles. So very, very small setup. And this is a quality airbrush. I really like this airbrush a lot. However, there have been a lot of issues, not a lot of issues, but there have been some issues with this airbrush. Okay, as we set you back in there, this airbrush is amazing. It's gotten me some very, very good results, and I've used it many, many times when it comes to outlining bolts and doing panel lining and doing some pre-shading, post-shading work, as well as some dusting work. So you get the idea. It's a really, really good detail brush. However, when it comes to a good detail brush, you need consistent spray pattern, and that has been an issue with this airbrush. So today, I'm going to talk about a possible fix to the Infinity. This is courtesy of another YouTuber. His name is DreadFX Custom Paint. I will leave a description to the video that I saw, as well as his channel, in the description below. So this man froze his fingers off in the name of art. So pretty much, let's run through the issues that someone may have if they have Infinity CR Plus. So as you can tell, this is very, very, it's a nice looking airbrush. You got some gold bits there. You have a nice little gold needle stop there. You have a airbrush body cut out so you could quickly access the needle chucking nut. You have a removable paint cup, just like that. Very nice. However, I kind of feel what they say about German engineering is a little bit true, where this is, in my opinion, a little bit over-engineered. Okay, so if you take a look at the trigger here, it's a dual action, so down for air, back for paint. Okay, it is a very smooth action. It is very nice. It feels very quality. However, the issue lies in this gold little arch right there. Now, if you have Infinity CR Plus, or you know about Infinity CR Pluses, a common complaint is the inconsistent spray pattern. And why does that happen? Well, it's happened to me in some previous videos, and I've actually explained that I've had to not film certain parts because of that. And that was because I was getting really inconsistent spray pattern, which was a kind of bummer, especially when you spend quality airbrush money, because this airbrush wasn't the cheapest on the market. But when you spend a certain amount of money, you expect to have a nice, even, consistent spray pattern, and that's not what we were achieving with this airbrush right here. So we're going to get into it. Again, this is courtesy of DreadFX Custom Paint. He is the one that found this fix. He is the one that diagnosed the issue, and we're just going to put it into practice. Okay, so I'm going to try to film this the best I can. If you can really look in here, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but you have the golden arch right here, and then deep inside there you have the main body of the needle. So it's the spring, it's everything that holds the spring. I'm going to show you guys a better idea. I'm going to take the airbrush apart, put it back together, and then you'll see why you may be getting an inconsistent spray pattern, which may lead to some other issues. Okay guys, so this is the main body, or the main disassembly, I would say, of the airbrush without completely tearing the whole thing down. Now, the issue lies, I'm going to take out this. So as you can see here, you have this golden arch, and you have this little cutout that's right there, right? Now the idea behind this airbrush is the more you pull it back, it's a nice circular surface, so you get a nice even, consistent pull, and it's very radial, so you'll get that. However, it's not exactly how it works, and that's kind of a shame because it looks really nice, it sprays really nice, but in that cutout, this part goes to this little notch right here. This is where the needle comes out of. Inside here, I'll show you guys. I'll just take off the chucking nug. Inside there is your spring. So no need to completely disassemble this airbrush unless you're doing some real maintenance. And when you push back on the trigger, that's the action you get right there. So the issue lies with the golden arch not making contact with the back of where it expands right there. So it rests on this smaller part right there, and then you'll see I'll try to do a little bit of a spray pattern test later. I'll show you exactly what happens with the trigger when you pull it back later, but the cutout kind of rests on here and it's not making any contact. This is just floating in there, okay? And it leads to some delayed spraying, and that's a shame. So that leads to some delayed spraying, and it's just floating there, and it doesn't make contact for a little while up until it reaches this main body right here. So we're gonna see if we could fix that today with a fix that I saw on YouTube, and hopefully it will work because I really adore this airbrush, and if it could bring it back to life, then that would be really great. So just for comparison's sake, so that way you guys can see exactly what I'm seeing as well, I brought out my Iwata HPCS. Now obviously this doesn't have the same intricate details. This is a 0.35 millimeter nozzle, so it's a little bit of a chunkier boy we got going on. But this is pretty much top standard. Iwata is an amazing, I'm not sponsored by either one of these airbrush companies, by the way, but Iwata is, I mean, it's just amazing, right? So if you take a look at this trigger here, it's the same thing. It's dual action, so it's down for air, back for paint. However, you don't have any type of golden arch, you don't have any other type of flashy construction to it. It's very simple, it's very tried, it's very tested. If you take a look in there, I'll try to get it to focus. There you go. Take a look right here. This little notch is connected to the spring body inside the airbrush. As you can see in the forward position, it's already resting on. So the minute you pull back this trigger, and you can tell by the chucking needle here, look at this. Look how much that moves already. And I'm barely pulling back this trigger. And then as I pull it back all the way, it's nice, even, consistent. There's no pause. There's no slack. It's very nice. So that's the Iwata. Never had an issue with my Iwata. I'm going to reassemble this, and I'm going to try to show you the same thing with the trigger mechanism in 1 second. Okay, so we have it fully reassembled. Again, not a bad breakdown process or something so terrible that I needed to film off camera, but it's just more comfortable anyway. But let's get into the spray pattern. So with the trigger, there's not slack per se. It's more just very inconsistent. Okay, now I'll show you exactly what I mean. You could, again, keep your eye on the chucking nut there. Watch what happens when I pull the trigger back. See how it kind of plays? It rides up, and look how much I have to pull the trigger back for it not to move at all, really. And I'll tell you right now, at 0.15 millimeter, that's not getting you any paint at all. Okay, and the problem persists throughout the airbrush. So now let's do a full retraction of it. I don't know if you guys saw it, but check this out. See, so look at this. Moving the trigger, not much is happening. I'm pulling, 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 and now it pauses right here. See how it doesn't move? I'm still pulling back, and now finally, it comes back. So I'll do it again so you can see. Back, see how it doesn't move? It starts moving and it stops. This is the point where it grabs that main body I was showing you earlier. And then as you're pulling back. Very inconsistent, even with the trigger. You could just tell it has multiple like biting points. So like right there, I'm starting to really grab. I'm starting to really get a hold of it. The problem is amplified if you use the needle stop. Let's say I put this needle stop at a point where I thought I was getting paint. Back a little bit. This right here, I'm getting no paint right here, and this is a needle stop. The needle can stop right there. It's supposed to be for comfort. It's supposed to be for everything else, but I get nothing. I get nothing there. So that's a big issue. Why is it a big issue, you might ask? Well, for a couple of reasons. One, aside from the inconsistent spray pattern that you may or may not get, it's very uncomfortable. One, because you're kind of guessing when's paint going to come out, when is it not going to come out. Also, it could lead to very, very bad tip dry, and that is an issue I've been running into very recently, and it's been a little annoying, but I've been able to work through it. Again, with all these issues, by the way, it's not a terrible airbrush. This airbrush still gets the job done. It's just a little bit inconsistent. I know I'm making it seem a lot worse than it is, but users of this Infinity CR Plus will understand that issue that I have with it. Tip dry is annoying more than anything. It's a very easy fix. However, this is how you may get tip dry. So let's say you're painting, you're pulling this needle back. Now you're getting paint, but you're getting paint and you're fully out, right? You're fully backed out. Now the needle tip is covered in paint because it's back within the nozzle area. Now that it's covered with paint completely, remember how I said I'm pulling down for air, I'm pulling back for paint, but I'm not getting any paint right here. Guess what's coming out? Just air. And if it's just air, there's no volume behind the paint. And it's just causing, you're just blowing air on the tip, which is covered in paint. And now you're experiencing tip dry. Now you have to go and, you know, especially when you have the cap off, you want to be very careful, and you want to go and you want to take little, you know, fingertips or a Q-tip. And now, mind you, before people start jumping down my throat, oh, you know, if you checked everything, and, you know, maybe there's a reason why you're not getting paint. No, check forums, you know, Reddit, etc. This is a known issue for the airbrush. My needle is perfectly straight. It's not bent at all. There's no other like leaks or anything else with this airbrush. Again, the manufacturing of this airbrush is fine. It's just a small issue. So now I'm gonna do a spray test for you guys, so that way you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, guys. So I have the Infinity hooked up to the air hose now. The PSI that I always typically use is about 20 PSI, although the workable range is from 12 to 15, but because of certain spray issues, I always use 20. I always use 20 kind of just to be safe. Never had any issues with 20 PSI. Actually, it's more around 17 to 18, but not really looking. Okay, so let's see what we can get here. Let's see what type of results we can get with this airbrush. Now this is going to be a little difficult to film, so I'm just going to move the camera just a little bit so I can get an angle and you guys can really see it down. I'm putting it down on white paper. Obviously, if you're modeling, you're going to be putting it down on plastic, so it may behave differently, but this is just a spray test to get an idea of what you're working with. So let's see what we can get here. We're just going to start with some straight lines. See? Very inconsistent. Look at that. Okay. I don't think I need to do much more. I'll come back to those later, but I'll show you some more stuff here. Some just circles. I want to show you guys something very interesting. I'm just going to go like this. Okay. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to show them. Alright, I'll do some little dots. Okay, I think you guys will pretty much get the idea from there. I'm going to go clean out the airbrush, and then we'll talk about the results that we've seen real quick. Alright guys, I'm going to kind of freehand the camera here, so I hope that no one gets motion sick when watching YouTube videos. But let's take a look at some of these straight lines, right? So the last one, we really got fairly consistent line. Now, I'm kind of far away. The airbrush is capable of tighter lines, but I'm a little far away from it. The first line, you could see there, you got a little dot. Now with these, it's an exercise I like to do where I consistently paint as I come back. So the paint should be getting thicker. It should be getting more opaque as I'm going left to right on the screen. And this is exactly the issue that we have. You see there, we have a little dot, and then just look at that. It's inconsistent, it's spotty, and then as you go on, that's when you get a nice consistent spray. Second line, it's almost like Morse code. Look at this. This whole front range right there, that's where you need the detail. Going back here, that's too much paint for detail. I'm telling you right now, on plastic, that's probably not good. But look at this. This is... it's pretty much exactly what I wanted to show you guys, that right there. This line started out a little thick. As you can see, we got a big dot there. Yeah, that's because the needle is saturated in paint. And then as you pull back again, look, kind of like Morse code, and then nothing actually. And I kept it in the same spot just to show you. This was pretty much full open all the way. As you could tell, it's much more opaque there than it is further back. These circles, I can't draw circles. I'm not a canvas artist, so please forgive me. But that circle right there, you could tell. Look at where the start is at the top, and I went left to right around. And you can tell it's, again, you get more of that spotty pattern. Right here, this is, you have a dot, you have no paint whatsoever, and then you have very inconsistent and light spray, and then heavier spray, and that's good. The dots are good. Obviously, this is why I use the brush for, you know, covering bolts and stuff like that, because the dots are very good. You get some good shadow too. But this is, let me put you guys back down for a second. This is unacceptable, kind of, when it comes to detailing. Detailing, you need consistency. You need consistency. It's very, very important. Now, listen, I understand what people are going to say. Modeling paints have a higher pigment count than canvas paints. I understand that to be true. Canvas paints are typically thinned out from the factory, so they're airbrush ready. I'm using Tamiya. I just use typical flat black from Tamiya, and it's thinned down with Mr. Color Thinner, since these are acrylic lacquer hybrid paints. But I found that I get a little bit more better spray consistency with the Mr. Color Thinner. However, I understand all those values to be true, but if you're an armor modeler, or you're an airplane modeler, what we saw on the spray pattern, it's just not acceptable. It's doable, it's workable, and perhaps on the paper it was a little bit more, how can I phrase it? Maybe it was a little bit more shown, because I'm trying to replicate the issue. So yes, it's a nice, I'm pulling the trigger back, I'm not holding in any specific spot, but obviously the issue is being replicated on paper. So what can we do? Well, again, many thanks. This video would not be possible without Dread FX, and I give him tons of thanks. Again, I will link his video and his profile in the description below. He has tons of videos on airbrushes, whether it be what airbrushes to buy. He has comparison videos that are really good. What do you get for certain money that you spend? Very good stuff. So what fix did he come up with, you might be asking? Okay. Well, the genius went ahead and he bought lead seals, Harder and Steenbeck lead seals. Okay, if you are using the Infinity CR Plus, or I think it's any Infinity, you can use these lead seals right here. That is the number 123180. And these lead seals, they come 3 in a pack. It's not expensive too. So that's another topic I wanted to discuss. The airbrush cost $215 at the time that I bought it. It's a little bit more expensive now with supply and demand and inflation and all that other stuff. When you pay that much money for an airbrush, you want quality. And you don't want to what happened on paper to happen during your artwork. Not that you can't work through it, but still, it's annoying and it's something that you shouldn't really have to deal with. So, what do? Do you send it in? No, because the issue persists. And unfortunately, Harder and Steenbeck haven't really found a fix for this. Do you buy a new airbrush? Okay, well, let's talk about airbrushes for a second. So, you can get quality airbrushes that are inexpensive, or less expensive than this. However, none come in the 0.15 millimeter variant. If you're trying to do hair fibers, or you're trying to do other like facial features for canvas painting, you would probably need a 0.15 or something small like that. You can achieve the same with a 0.2 millimeter nozzle. There's tons of airbrushes that have 0.2 millimeter nozzles, but at the end of the day, you're still spending, 40. There's airbrushes out there that are $40 that are still very good. So you wouldn't want to replace this that you just spent $215 on. You wouldn't want to replace it with a $40 airbrush. It'll make you feel really bad, trust me. So these lead seals, the pack of 3 was $10. Actually, they were $7. Shipping and handling took them out to $10. Looks like my hand has eyes. Anyway, so those lead seals, when they come in the pack, they're not going to fit the portion I showed you before. I will disassemble this so you know it's not hard to do. Just gotta get my tools. Okay. Alright. Here we go. Oh, also, just so you know, nice straight needle, not bent, nice and clean. Okay. Alright, so the seals outside the pack won't fit around there. You will have to machine those lead seals just a little bit. It's really not difficult to do. In the video, Dread uses a tapered Dremel extension. I just used like my pin vise, my little pin vise tips to really get in there. So what the genius did was he put Teflon seals right around the smaller portion right there, right here. So that way it's no longer floating. Instead, now that golden arch is resting up against there at the forward position, and that is very important. So I'm gonna throw the lead seals on. I'm gonna show you what it looks like, and then I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay guys, so this is what our work looks like. Now you may be asking, can I use like rubber seals? probably wouldn't want to. Just because they're not good in solvent. So if for whatever reason you get solvent on this portion of the airbrush, that won't be a good day for you. They'll keep breaking, and you don't want to do that. They dry out, they shrink in the winter, they expand in the summer, so you may get some different variables there. So this is the fix right there. It's pretty much just like adding washers, so that way you take up some slack. Let's put this back together now. So obviously we have our airbrush, we have the cutout, and now we're just going to insert this like we normally do any airbrush. And again, this is the first time I'm trying this personally, but I do have faith that this is going to work. I just tried it out there for funsies, but this is going to be the real test. All right, insert your needle very gently. Obviously, it would be a shame if I spoke about bending tips and how my tip isn't bent, and then I go and I bend the tip in this video. That would be very embarrassing, and all my credibility as a modeler and as a, I would say, middle of the road airbrusher. It would take all my credibility, and you would just stop watching this video at this very moment. Okay, so our fix is in. As you can tell, you can see the washers down there resting comfortably up against the golden arch now. Let's see. Oh, wow. You know what I will say? It's a little bit like, it feels a little stiffer. Like it's, oh wow, that's nice. Wow. That's really nice. Let's see a little spray test. Keep your eye on the chucking needle, see if you see any play or slack. No? I mean, look at that. That's, I'd say that's improved it quite a bit. I got a little catch here in the back. I could probably diagnose that though. It's probably that's probably my error. But look at that. There's no slack there. It's nice. Alright, so we're going to hook this up to the airbrush, or to the air hose rather. This is the airbrush. Can't hook the airbrush up to the airbrush. That's not possible. We are going to hook up the airbrush to the air hose, and we're going to test it out and see if our spray pattern has improved. Our trigger response definitely has. I could get the feel for it. Using this airbrush for 2 years, 3 years almost, I could tell the difference in the trigger already. Oh, okay, so before I hook it up to the air hose, I diagnosed the problem. This little screw right here, this is to add tension to the internal spring. I had this set all the way forward because it relieved some of that slack. That very stiff spring you got there. So it alleviated some of that draw, and it was pretty bad. And if you want to say no, you needed to unscrew it, and that's the reason why you're getting dotting, well, that's one of the first things I tried, and it was even worse. So I screwed this out to about where I started seeing the thread, and now I don't have that catch anymore. It's very, very nice. A little bit more. There you go. That is a very nice, light, smooth trigger, and I like it. So we're going to keep it just like that. Air hose coming up in 1 second. Guys, I sprayed off camera just for like a second just to make sure it was spraying. And wow, I could tell the difference. So the top is going to be our before. The bottom is going to be our after. Let's see how it works. All right, so we're just going to do some lines here. Wow. Okay. Wow. Oh man. Let's do some circles the best we can. Again, I'm terrible at circles. And the way I have to hold the airbrush, actually, put the camera back where it was before, like at an angle, so you guys can see. There you go. It's a little bit better. Let's get some circles going here.
This is, wow, okay. This is a lot more responsive. Look how quickly I'm getting paint. Let's do some really tiny dots. Now that we're having fun, let's do some really tiny dots. Look how quickly I'm getting paint, guys. And you know what? Look at this, watch. I'll show you something. Do a line. No tip dry. A little bit of splatter, but that's okay. Actually, that's my fault, so I'll do it the way I'm supposed to. Look at that. No, nothing. No, no extra spray. Let's see if it improves the quality of dots. Guys, this is night and day. This is really, really amazing stuff. Okay, I'm gonna finish having fun, and then I will come back to you guys after I'm done cleaning out my airbrush and all that other good stuff.
Okay, everyone, I hope you've taken your meclizine or your other form of motion sickness pills. I know I have. Let's, I'm gonna freehand the camera again so we can see what we got.
Look at that. Now, obviously my line's a little suspect. I wasn't holding it right there, so just please. But you could tell with these lines, the squiggly ones, that, I mean, I get no of that. I mean, look at the difference. That was before I added the lead seals, and I didn't change a thing in my technique. I have not changed a thing. And just look at that. Paint immediately from the beginning. I mean, the lines are enough to make you kind of nauseous, right? A little bit issue on that third one there. That was probably me. I mean, just given 75% of those lines there came out really good and one didn't. That was probably me. Look at those little dots right there. I also noticed that the airbrush atomizes better for some reason as well. Again, I didn't, do anything funny where I thinned down the paint a little bit more, or, I purposely used unthinned paint. No, same Tamiya XF51 black with Mr. Color Thinner. Same paint, same setup, same air pressure. The only thing that's different is that we put the lead seals inside the airbrush. I feel like you could tell those are the shadow dots. Look how well those atomized. I mean, that looks really, really good.
Set you guys back down. Okay, so did this work? Would I suggest it? I'm gonna say yes to both. If you own an airbrush this expensive, again, I will say you deserve to have high quality sessions, paint sessions, when it comes to this airbrush right here. You deserve it. You say you spoiled yourself on this airbrush. You wanted a nice quality airbrush. You didn't want something like the Iwata Custom Micron, which will run you about $600. You didn't want to break the bank, so you went and you got something a little bit mid-range in terms of price, $215. Okay. Didn't want to break the bank, so you went ahead and you bought this. You deserve to have good paint sessions. It just is what it is. There's no denying that either. No one will say, "Hey, I spent $215 on this. I'm actually up for a session of bad painting." No one ask any artist at any level and no one is going to say that. Yeah, I think the fix was amazing. It was cheap and it worked. three very important factors: cheap, got good results, and it worked. I guess you could couple these two. So cheap and it worked. Anyway, I kind of fell out of love with my Infinity CR Plus a little bit, and when I would do freehand camos, it was kind of something that I wouldn't look forward to. However, now I'm kind of looking forward to doing some freehand camos again, now that I feel like I have my airbrush back. This made me fall back in love with this airbrush, and it was a $10 fix. It was super amazing. I ordered the seals, at the time of recording this is Thursday. I ordered the seals on Monday afternoon. They got here yesterday, but because of work and everything else like that, I wasn't able to shoot this video, and I wasn't able to even test it out or anything like that. I wanted to wait and do a spray test before and after, so that's why. So it took 4 days, $10, and now I have a very, very good detailing airbrush that has a responsive trigger that didn't break the bank. Very, very important. Case closed. Yes, that's right. That's a dad joke. Anyway, guys, I thank you so much for watching this video. Again, please go check out Dread FX's channel. He's given me tips. He's personally saved me from spending about $600 on airbrushes that I didn't really need. That will be in an upcoming video. But he's saved me from making some purchases that I didn't need to make because of his reviews. Please go check him out. Again, this is his idea. This was his fix. This is where I got the idea from. This fix was from him. So please go check out his video. He has tons of more videos like that. And again, he sacrificed his warmth, literally, for this fix right here. Thank you guys for watching this video. I know it's been a while since I posted, so I just wanted to say happy holidays wherever you celebrate them around the world. Happy New Year to wherever you are around the world. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy for you and your family. Just keep modeling. It's fun. It's the winter in a lot of places of a lot of my followers, so good indoor activity. Anyway, guys, if you have one of these, I highly suggest it. Thank you for tuning in again, and I'll see you guys next time.